Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's Niall, just going solo on this one to react to what we've just seen from California as Terence Crawford, the magnificent Terence Crawford, has cemented his legacy even further by becoming a four-division world champion as he's defeated Israel Madrimov by unanimous decision to win the WBA 154-pound title at the BMO Stadium. Yeah, it's another notch on the belt of the excellent Terence Crawford. But before we get into the reaction, just a reminder that if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at ESBR Boxing. A lot of great content of all kinds, predictions, reviews, previews, breakdowns, interviews, all that good stuff. And give us a follow on social media, Instagram, X, and also don't forget to give us a download on Spotify if you prefer the audio version of our content. And yeah, give us a download on there to help us out in that. So yeah, as I say, Terence Crawford defeating Israel Madrimov, and what I'll say first on this is that was a ridiculously hard fight to score, and for a lot of people, the opinion would be really split on that one. Um, a lot of people think it was the rightful winner, Terence Crawford. I personally did too. Israel Madrimov, a lot of people thought he'd done enough to get it, or a lot of people, plenty of people even calling a draw after that one. So hard to score. It's one that we'll have to watch again. I'll have to watch again, maybe with no commentary tomorrow, and it might turn out a different result. I might give it to Madrimov, or I might even give it the draw. But yeah, it was razor tight for me. Maybe not the most entertaining fight in the world you'll ever see, but it was so technically it was such a high level technically between both men. Of course, Madrimov, plenty of people expecting him to give Crawford a really tough night's work, and that's what happened. Of course, so well schooled from the amateur background, great engine, never stopped moving, never stopped kind of coming forward. Um, yeah, and Terence Crawford, what it came down to for me, for Terence Crawford, was such a disciplined performance, such a focused performance. I think maybe the early stages of this fight and the championship rounds were the decider. Israel Madrimov early on threw a lot of feints, brilliant footwork, but a constant move and so slippery, never an easy target to kind of nail down cleanly, but he didn't throw enough early on. Crawford, I think, picked him off counter punch very well early on. Madrimov didn't throw anywhere near enough shots to kind of pick up enough early rounds for me. But the second half of the fight, Madrimov landed heavy shots, landed big shots on Crawford. Will get his kind of um, would get his shots off, heavy shots, and then be gone. He'd throw and he'd dip out, he'd throw and he'd dip out, and it looked like he was pulling it back to kind of win what would have been a big upset, for the bookmakers. But as I say, boxing fans know that Madrimov, they predicted him to give Crawford a hell of a fight, and that's exactly what he did. But then championship rounds, Bud Crawford shown his class and his composure to take control in championship rounds and kind of see him over the line in that fight to win by unanimous decision. Yeah, I had a Crawford, as I mentioned. I had a 115, 113 Terence Crawford, similar to one of the judges, but if I, it's a fight, as I say, it's not the most entertaining fight you'll ever see, but it was a very highly skilled technical fight from both. And if I watch it tomorrow, I'll come up with might come up with a different winner, a different result, maybe a draw. But yeah, it was a really hard fight to score. A lot of really close, razor tight rounds. But in my opinion, the deserved winner and Terence Crawford has become the new WBA junior middleweight world champion, becoming a four division world champion in the process, and kind of further cementing his pound for pound status. You know, where they have him at number one or not, he's definitely top three. You know, I have him at number two now. I think that's a great win for him. I still have Usyk at number one, but Crawford is one of, if not the best fighter on the planet at the minute. And you know, if you have him number one, who am I to argue? You know, he's that good, and I think he will go down as one of the greatest fighters ever. Um, you know, 35 now. How many more fights does he have left? Who knows? But yeah, he's had an absolutely extraordinary career. Titled in four weight divisions, undisputed in two weight divisions. And you know, the question is now, what's next for Terence Crawford? It seems to be one man that's next for Terence Crawford, that it looks like is next for Terence Crawford, and that's the undisputed super middleweight champion, Canelo Alvarez. Turkey Al Sheikh wants it to happen, and I think it will happen. You know, I really do. It's a super fight. On paper, it's an absolute super fight. Two of the biggest names in boxing. But in terms of a fight, the fight itself, I don't know if I'm in a minority here, but I don't want to see it. I really don't want to see it. I don't think either man needs the fight. I think Canelo doesn't need a fight, doesn't need to be fighting a newly kind of crown junior middleweight, you know, but even a smaller man than that. And Terence Crawford doesn't need to kind of, he wouldn't damage his legacy, but he doesn't need to to take a fight two weight divisions above against someone much bigger and absolutely elite in Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez would comfortably beat Terence Crawford. And I don't know how people could really think differently, to be honest with you. People saying Crawford, well, before tonight, people were saying Crawford would give him real problems. Terence Crawford is absolutely brilliant, and he's absolutely phenomenal. But even phenomenal fighters have a limit. There's weight classes for a reason, you know, and it'd be too big of a jump. He doesn't, there's no shame in it, but he wouldn't be just jumping up to fight an average super middleweight. He would be jumping up to fight arguably the greatest super middleweight of all time in Canelo Alvarez. And yeah, neither man needs that for me. I think there's way more important fights around each man's weight class that boxing fans would want to see more. You've got David Benavidez for Canelo Alvarez, obviously the big one, and you know Terence Crawford. You've got a selection of opponents. Could he go back down to 147 to fight Jaron Ennis, the IBF welterweight champion? And then there's the champions at 154. You know, he's a champion now. You know, could he rematch Madrimov? But there's also the likes of Sebastian Fundora. It'd be fascinating to see how Crawford does against the size and the reach of Fundora and Tim Tszyu, who Sebastian Fundora beat last time out. I think Tim Tszyu versus Terence Crawford would be an excellent fight. And very, very competitive fight. It's hard to call. As brilliant as Terence Crawford is, he he wasn't, you know, on that performance, he wasn't his usual incredible self. You know, that's the closest fight he's ever had in his career. And that's not to say that Terence Crawford was underwhelmed, you know, that he was underwhelmed. It's an absolute credit to Israel Madrimov, who gave him a hell of a fight. But Crawford at 154 on that shown is not the same fighter as he was at 147 or 140. So Tim Tszyu versus Crawford or Sebastian Fundora versus Crawford aren't foregone conclusions by any means. Either man could beat him, in my opinion, especially Team Zoo. I love that fight. I'd love to see it. Also, Virgil Ortiz, let's not forget to mention, who fights Sergey Bochuk next weekend. Could we see Crawford against Virgil Ortiz? Who knows if he comes through that, or Crawford versus Bochuk? But yeah, he doesn't need to go near Canelo Alvarez for me, but it will happen because if it makes money, it makes sense, and it makes a lot of money. So I think it's going to be a Riyadh season super fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez wins massively comfortably for me, especially on tonight's show. Tonight's show just cements that Crawford shouldn't move up again, even though he beat Israel Madrimov fairly, in my opinion. But yeah, that's all we have time for on this one. Just myself giving a quick reaction to what we've seen from the BMO Stadium in California as Terence Crawford, Bud Crawford, has cemented his all-time great legacy once again, becoming a four-division world champion and becoming the newly crowned WBA junior middleweight world champion, defeating Israel Madrimov, the previous unbeaten Israel Madrimov, by unanimous decision to pick up another world title and yeah, kind of further cement his pound for pound legacy in the sport. So let us know what you think in the comments. What did you make of that fight? How did you score it? Very interested to see how people in the comment section scored it. Did you have Crawford? Did you have Madrimov? Or did you have a draw? It was that close. So yeah, let us know what you think and what's next for Terence Crawford. Should he fight Canelo? Would he beat Canelo? Would he cause Canelo problems? Let us know all that stuff. And as always, as I mentioned at the start of the video, if you like what you've seen, we've plenty more good stuff like that. Great content on YouTube. So subscribe to our channel. Drop a like on this video. Hit the bell notification to get notified when we have content coming out. Reviews, previews, interviews, breakdowns, predictions, all that. And follow us on social media and give us a download on Spotify to help us out over there. So yeah, speak again and take care.